55 years ago today, a patent on the first computer mouse was presented to the engineer and inventor Douglas Engelbart. He became an internet and computer pioneer at the Stanford Research Institute, spearheading the creation of not only the computer mouse, but the development of hypertext, network computers, and early, graphical user interfaces. Using his own strategy to accelerate the rate of innovation, these advancements came decades before the personal computer revolution. Read more about his important work. 1917. Over photos by Sri International and Alex Handy CZ licenses. Engelbart never received any royalties for the invention of the mouse, and later said she patented the mouse, but they really had no idea of its value. Some years later it was learned that they had licensed it to Apple Computer for something like $40,000. Described in the patent application as an XY position indicator for a display system, it consisted of a wooden shell with two metal wheels and was nicknamed the mouse because the tail came out the end. Engelbart wanted to focus his career on making the world a better place by harnessing the collective human intellect of all people to contribute to effective solutions. He reasoned that if you could dramatically improve how we do that, you'd be boosting every effort on the planet to solve important problems, and computers could be the vehicle for dramatically improving this capability. His bootstrap institute, later known as the Doug Engelbart Institute, promoted his vision, which was touted at the 1968 Mother of All Demos. 1960. More good news on this day. The U.S. Capitol building held its first session of the U.S. Congress when Tiffin A into the Suez Canal opened, linking the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. Tiffin A in 67 result and negotiations in Helsinki began aimed at limiting numbers of strategic nuclear weapons. 1967. Canadian singer Gordon Lightfoot, known for his 1960 novel Who Could Read My Mind, was born 1975. 8-2013. Actor Danny DeVito turns 8 years old today. 1974. Hello U.S. rap. John Murtha, one of Congress' most hawkish Democrats, called for an immediate U.S. withdrawal from Iraq. 2005. Musician poet Patti Smith won the National Book Award for her memoir, Just Kids. 2010. DeVito. Years ago today, the rival cities of Buda and Pest put their differences aside and their names together to form Budapest, capital of Hungary. Still to this day, divided by the Danube, the two cities were very different despite their proximity. The residents of Pest on the eastern bank were primarily Hungarian, while the residents of Buda on the western bank were of German origin. 2/3 of the population of Budapest today live in what was Pest, where can also be found Parliament, while the President's office and Old King's Palace are found in Buda.
Buda depicted in the Nuremberg Chronicles from the 15th century.
Despite its location as the capital and seat of power of Hungary in the 12th and 13th centuries and Pest as the economic center, Buda would become extremely diverse. Built originally as a fortress, there was a great influx of Turkic people during the Mongol invasions in the Middle Ages. After that, it was conquered by the Ottomans, who filled it with Muslims from the Balkans. In 1686, an army containing over 74,000 men, including German, Dutch, Hungarian, English, Spanish, Czech, French, Croat, Burgundian, Danish, and Swedish soldiers, along with other Europeans as volunteers, artillerymen, and officers, took Buda from the Ottomans and re-Christianized it. In 1849, the first suspension bridge, the gorgeous Chani train bridge, was constructed across the Danube, connecting Pest with Buda, bringing about a much freer relationship between the two cities. In 1860, Budapest and the third connecting town of Buda, all united to form Budapest. 15820, 6 years ago today, Nicolas Appert, the inventor of airtight food preservation, was born in Clons-en-Champagne, France. The French inventor, known as the father of canning, worked at his family's inn until age 20, when he opened a brewery with his brother, and then was a head chef for 13 years. Nicolas Appert's canning bottle by Jean-Paul Barbier and modern jars by Laura Burns CC licenses. At age 46, he began experimenting with ways to preserve foodstuffs, succeeding with soups, vegetables, juices, dairy products, jams, and syrups. He placed the food in a thick, large-mouthed bottle pictured, leaving airspace at the top and firmly sealing it with cork using a vise. After sealing it with wax, the bottle was then wrapped in canvas to protect it, then placed in boiling water for as much time as Appert deemed thorough for cooking the contents. The first to do this on an industrial scale, by 1884, is House of Appert La Maison Appert in Massy, near Paris, became the first food bottling factory in the world years before Louis Pasteur proved that heat killed bacteria. In honor of Appert, canning is sometimes called Appertization. 6 years later, France gave Appert 12,000 francs on condition that he make his process public, so he published a book describing it. The first of its kind on modern food preservation methods. It had instructions so simple that the practice quickly became widespread. 6,000 copies of L'Art de conserver les substances animales et végétales English, The Art of Preserving Animal and Vegetable Substances, were printed that year. but never truly understood why his method worked, as it was years before a science of bacteriology was developed. One since 1949, and 60 years ago today, President John F. Kennedy inaugurated Washington Dulles International Airport, IAD, serving the nation's capital and Northern Virginia. The gorgeous facility is named after John Foster Dulles, the Secretary of State who served under President Dwight D. Eisenhower. The Dulles main terminal, with its peaked offices, capped roof of cement and glass, is a well-known landmark designed by Finnish-American architect Eero Saarinen, who also designed the Gateway Arch in St. Louis and the TWA building, now hotel near JFK Airport. Dulles Airport CC 4.0. SA Joe Ravi. For those living and working in Northern Virginia's suburbs, there are